All right, everyone. Thank you for watching another episode of the Cal Podcast. My name is Donovan. I'm joined here with Tommy and Trejon. And, we're here, and we're going to ask him a couple questions today. First off, take a chance to introduce yourself and what you do here on campus.
Yeah, so thank you both for having me. This is a cool project just because I know I worked with it with Kurt I think last year or so. So it's nice to see how you've all blossomed it. And it looks awesome. And I love watching the videos too.
Thank you.
But my name's Trejon Dinkins. I'm the director of our Kathryn Hughes Seaber Raiders Academic Center for Student Athletes. Seaber RAC for short, just because that is a longer name.
Yeah.
But she's the donor is somebody that's super special to me, and she's awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what I do on campus is really just support our student athletes with whatever it is that they need. Academics is the foundational ground that we stand on, or that we live or we work within. But it turns into holistic support. So it's a lot with student athlete development, professional development, helping them progress as people beyond just being a student and also an athlete. So
Gotcha.
it's a holistic gig, and I'm super excited to be here to talk to you all and kind of help you learn more about my story too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also we know that you're part of Raiders Lead also. I don't know if you want to take a second to talk about that a little bit also.
Yeah, so Raiders Lead is a great program. I think leadership is something that you can't really read a dictionary definition of it. It's something that you experience and you learn through people who coach you or who lead you, or people who led you that you didn't really agree with how they lead you, right? So leadership, I think, is a journey. It's a personal journey that you have to take to figure out what's your definition. So through the program, we're actually able to invite different guest speakers to talk to the student athletes about their own personal leadership styles. And then after each seminar, we also do a workshop that they can then practice whatever it is that topic is, or focus on one of our core values. So by the end of it, hopefully they have their own definition of leadership, understanding that everybody is different and everybody's leadership style is unique. So our goal is just to help bring them a little bit closer to it.
Gotcha.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I was there whenever you were doing the sports thing with Bill Morgul.
Yes,
so I was able to kind of view in on that, and so we'll get some different questions going from there.
Awesome.
But
That was a cool experience.
Yeah. In that intervio, you said the hardest part about your job is driving to and from.
Yeah.
So it kind of inspired. Like, what kind of made you get into this career path, and what motivates you to do it every day?
It wasn't something I sought out. It was something that honestly called me. When I first got into college, I knew what I didn't want to do, but I knew I wanted to stay in the realm of sports. So my vision was very, very wide. And then as I kind of got through the years, I knew I didn't want to really be a coach. I didn't want to be a strength coach. I didn't want to be in occupational therapy because I wanted to make a difference. So I started asking people around me, my athletic director, one of the directors of Spooky Nug. I talked to an NFL scout, an NFL, not a commissioner, but he worked in the commissioner's office too.
Okay.
And I just started working backwards, kind of seeing what their journey involved. And the one that really called me was my athletic director. And he's somebody, Miles Gallagher, he's somebody that I still have a connection with. And he kind of just walked me through his journey. So when I got to become a junior or senior, I knew in order to do that, I had to get my master's program. So I was able to secure a GA, and part of my GA was working in game ops. So initially I thought I would be an operations manager just because I love the back end stuff and being connected, and you're always on the sideline. But we needed help in our academic department. So I spoke with our other AD, and I was like, hey, I'd be more than happy to join your team and help however I can. I just fell in love with that process just because it was peer-to-peer mentorship, because I was working with a lot of people from my team, and then also other student athletes, younger student athletes, and I was able to use my story to inspire and motivate, provide mentorship, help them get through obstacles that I had to face myself, or just help them through the challenges that I foresaw. So it was just something that kind of fell upon my lap, and then the student success position opened up, and my athletic director said, hey, I think this would be a perfect fit for you. And then it was just curtains from there. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Just kind of fell into it and just fell in love with it from the start.
That's
yeah.
cool.
And it's flourished ever since. So
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Only ever hear great things about you. So
Seriously.
it's a good sign.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And then kind of circling back, we saw that you took a trip to the NCAA headquarters recently.
Yeah.
Was that for Raiders Lead or?
No, so and this dates back to when I was a student athlete. I'm somebody that always looks to push myself and put myself in situations that help me improve.
Mm-hmm.
So personal and professional development is something that I continuously try to do. So every year since I've gotten a full-time job, this dates back to when I was a GA, I've looked to do something with the NCAA or something with student-athlete development or something relative to what I was working in each year. So this past year, I applied for the Career in Sports Forum, and it allowed me to serve as a facilitator for what happened was I think over 1,000 people apply, and they invite 200 specific student-athletes to join that program to learn more about what the careers look like, and not just sports in college, but high school, NFL, NBA, professional sports, and whatnot. And we got to just pour into 200 or so different student athletes. So it was a very cool experience, and it was something that I wish I knew of when I was undergrad, but it allowed me to take what I do at SHIP and then put it towards a broader spectrum and just meet with different individuals from across the nation. So I had my own little cohort, about 35, Team Purple.
Wow.
So that was my crew, but it was just an incredible experience just to teach them about my journey and help them discover themselves a little bit more, and then teach them to not chase a title but chase your purpose, which is what I'm doing. And it was like I got some tears, some cheers in that last section, but it was a really unique experience.
Shout out Team Purple.
Yeah,
Right?
Team Purple.
Yeah.
And then I know you mentioned a little bit about yourself being a college athlete. I know for any of the viewers also, me and Tommy are collegiate athletes there, so we try to kind of circle that back in here also. And, you were a football player at Millersville, and so one of the questions that we had was, how has football helped you in your professional career?
That's a good question, just because I think as an athlete, or a student athlete, not just the athlete, but as a student athlete, you don't realize, like when you're doing it, you don't realize how much of like your sport and the skills you learn in your sport apply to real world. It
sticks with you, yeah.
It's insane how much it correlates, and sometimes just taking a step back to see, okay, what makes me a good athlete, and what separated me from most was my work ethic, my ability to withstand adversity, whether it was injuries or depth chart or an opponent, and my ability to adapt on the fly, right? And also my ability to just stay even. Like I was never too high and I was never too low.
Yeah.
My teammates knew me as somebody that they can look to when the games are rough and when the games are good, because I had the same look, the same leadership style throughout the whole thing. So I think those are the 4 or 5 things that really kind of translate it into my real world. Like my work ethic is insane. I'll stay till 5:36 if I need to. I'm always willing to dedicate my time. And just my ability to adapt to different situations has continued with me too, whether it's staffing changes or things that you all experience, because every year it changes, like the landscape changes.
Yeah.
So being able to change and adapt to what you all need. So that's what I would think kind of really translated the most. But that was the hardest thing, figuring out what separated me as an athlete and how I can apply it to the real world setting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I definitely agree with that. Like, I'm a cross country runner, so in my sport, I'm very disciplined.
Right.
In doing a lot of miles, a lot of time out there running. It sucks, and then I've also seen that transition into my home life, and I become very disciplined in like what I believe in, and whether it's just like doing things around the house or keeping up with career or something like that. I've noticed that as well with me. So
Absolutely.
I've learned like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly.
So how you approach track and cross country, especially with longer distances, it's typically how you think and what your mindset is when you're attacking goals and school and personal stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any stories that stick out in your mind about either it could be a story of you overcoming adversity or someone that you helped overcome adversity? Is there anything that just sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, like through this job you get to have like really genuine impact on others' lives, and I don't do it for that. I do it just so I can pour into you guys and make sure you have everything you need. But one that stuck out with me, and it really stuck out with me just because it's kind of layered, is I had a student athlete my first semester here, I won't give her personal information out, but it was a student athlete who struggled their first semester. And it wasn't that they couldn't do it. It was like the transition to college is difficult, right?
Yeah.
And then she battled other personal stuff. So through our journey together, I helped her kind of identify what her strengths were and how she can use what she does on the field or the court and apply it to school. And through that year of development, we developed a really, really cool professional relationship to the point where the next year she had an underclassman who was going through her own personal struggles. And because I helped the first student athlete out, she recommended me to the student athlete, and then we developed a different relationship. And this individual went through some tough times through her first 2 years at the university because of injury and school. But because I was able to help her through the battle, there's now another freshman that's going through something similar. And I was able to connect her to the previous two. So those instances are really what I live for, just because it continues to give back. And the work I did in the past is starting to come back in a different way too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember my freshman year when I came here, I walked in, I saw the rack. First of all, I was like, damn, this is nice.
Yeah,
the other thing that stuck out was, how helpful both you and Cassie, she was in the rack also my first year. And then, I came in undecided. And so I think both of you guys had a part to play with, what I figured out I wanted to do. And I had a very great time with it.
Yeah, so. It's a unique setting, and shout out to Cassie. She's awesome, and I love what she's doing now. She's helping in a different capacity, but I think the biggest thing with this role is I get to give you all individual attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So give you what you need, and what you need may be different from what you need, right? So it's that individual approach that we cherish and we take pride in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
You help one student, and then the student's to a struggling student, oh, well, he helped me in this way, and then boom, that could help.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
you never know what people are going through, so you have a chance to help different people with a whole bunch of different things, and I think it makes you more well-rounded as a person also.
Exactly. Yeah. Another tip I learned is your biggest impact is the impact you make when you're not in the room. So a lot of times the impact I make on somebody else, that leads somebody else to me because they have a conversation about a struggle. Yeah. Right. So again, I think that's what networking too. The people who talk about you in a room when you're not there is going to lead you to that next opportunity.
Exactly.
So.
And then we talked a little bit about your football days with Millersville.
The good old days.
Yeah.
It's weird saying that.
I know. It's an unk saying, right? Yeah. But so you were actually a transfer, right, from Delaware, and then what was your experience like transferring? I know it's obviously a lot different nowadays, but if you want to talk a little bit about your transfer and what went into that.
Yeah, so it's a process and a journey that I would never wish on somebody else, just because and candidly, it was I was in a tunnel and there was no way out but forward, right? But I learned so much about myself, I wouldn't trade that experience for nothing else, just because before then, I don't know if I could say, before that point, I don't know if I could say academics was above football for me. My social life was about, everything was about football. And, sometimes when you're forced to stop, whether you want to or not, it forces you to say, hey, who am I beyond just my sport? And for a lot of us, you play your sport since you were, 5, 6, or 7? You know what I mean? So it becomes a big part of you. So when I was forced to stop, just because when I transferred, financially, I had to pay back Delaware before I could move forward with any school. And it was a good amount. And luckily, I was able to work my butt off to be able to pay that off. But what's different now is, before, I had to recruit myself. So I had to email. I probably emailed 50 coaches a day. Wow. I went back. It's funny. And this is a cool story to tell now, but I went back to my attic in my hometown and pulled, my bucket of letters that I had. The first letter I pulled out was Millersville. So that's really that's the first person I reached out to. They were the first people to respond back. And then that's what got me onto the PSAC, and then I started doing research into them, because then I found Kutztown and East Stroudsburg. So, but yeah, it was a long journey. But again, I learned more about myself beyond just my athletic identity. I was able to see who I was as a person, My work ethic kind of changed, and I was able to see who I wanted to become after I got picked my new school. So once I got to Millersville, I was already in a space where I was mature. I knew what I wanted. I knew the route of, like, I knew what direction I wanted to go with my career. And I was able to redefine myself as an athlete, too. Like, I got a full year to just grind, right, to work out. I worked out with some UFC fighters, some firefighters, some bodybuilders.
Wow.
So it was a cool experience, and it allowed me to kind of transition into what I became as a player and what I wanted to become as a player.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Did you only end up having 1 year at Millersville?
So I had two.
Two.
So because I redshirted, and then I played 2 years at Delaware, and I finished my last 2 at Millersville. But something I hang my hat on is just what I was able to accomplish on the field, but also off the field. Like, I was able to fit right in, develop a culture on the football team, and just be engaged with not just my coaches, but athletic administration too.
Yeah.
So it was a full cycle moment for me. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of the issue that you see today now with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
People don't really get the chance to,
Yeah,
make
it's
those
hard.
connections on campus
Yeah.
because people are bouncing left and right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
seriously.
It's hard to
Yeah.
establish and keep a culture.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
But it has its pros and its cons for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. And obviously, your background playing football at Millersville and Delaware, in those days, nowadays we have the Seaber RAC, right?
Yeah.
At Millersville and Delaware, what resources did players have to help them succeed and whatnot off the field?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's so different just because of not even like here. Like here, I think we're so fortunate. Like everything I had at Delaware, we have here, right? Whether the resources look a little different or not, yes, but I would compare our resources here to a lot of Division I schools,
Yeah.
even top-notch D2 schools. But at Delaware, that's really where I got the vision of where I am now because as an athlete, you had to meet with your athletic advisor and an academic advisor. Your academic advisor was like once or twice a semester, but you met with your athletic advisor every week. And I had one that taught me what I didn't want to really do or what I didn't want to look like as a leader. And then I had one that really poured into me because I felt like he really put time into understanding who I was and what I was going through in those moments. And he's really why I'm doing what I am today because I saw how much of an impact he made on me, and I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
And then I had a full circle moment like a year ago where I was leading a panel and he was one of the guests, and I got to interact with him. So that was a cool experience. But we had study hall at Delaware. We had those athletic advisors. And then you really had a career center for the general student population, but I think even that's changed since then. And then at Millersville, we had study hall, but it was a classroom setting, and like for football, we had like two or 3 hours that we had to do on Sunday, and then like 2 or 3 hours we had to do like Wednesday. But it wasn't like free choice. Like you had to come in with the coach. And then we had I had normal individual weekly meetings with my coach until I showed that I was okay to handle things on my own. But then they have a compliance AD that would have additional meetings too. So those who were ineligible or struggling with grade, they would meet with him or a GA too. So, but yeah, that's what the breakdown looked like. But like here again, you have a space that you can go to whenever, and that's unique. You have 2 full-time staff members that are always available. That's unique. We have leadership development, special for student athletes, and career center engagement, special for student athletes. So I would say like what we have here is definitely unique, and that shows athletics buy-in, and then also the university too.
Yeah.
And like especially first year, when you're coming first year here, you're always in the RAC, right? And even I'm a junior. I mean, we're both juniors, and I still go to the RAC all the time. You know, so
those bean bags are nice.
I know. I gotta get some more. Yeah.
bean bags
They
are
got the
nice.
whole space, just only bean bags.
You can lay out like so many people fall asleep on them.
I saw that so many times.
I've seen LeVar snoring on those
Yeah,
things.
definitely LeVar. Yep.
But yeah,
and honestly too, like we try to look like the idea behind it in your freshman year is to load you up in the space just so you get used to being in there, so that when you develop and you don't need the space anymore, that's still a comfortable space for you, and that becomes your workspace. And you know who to go to when you need help. So that's the idea. So it's cool to hear that you guys still come back and forth.
Yeah.
And it can be a place to kind of like build connections too with similar people, like other student athletes. I know I met quite a few there, people that I still 2 years later I'm still friends with.
Yeah.
And that's
it's a
definitely played a
collaborative
big role.
Yeah, my freshman year I was like oh, this place is really only like for freshmen and whatnot. Because my freshman year, I didn't see a whole lot of like sophomores, juniors, seniors.
Wasn't really,
My sophomore year, my junior year, I'm like, they're like, it's for everyone. You know, like I'm really seeing everyone in there. So the growth to see in there as well is awesome.
And that's something that like we pride ourselves on. Like it does look very different than it did like 4 years ago. Like now, even today, like there's student athletes in there. Like I would come in on a Friday afternoon and like 3 or 4, nobody would be in there but us, right? So I think I've been back on like Saturdays. There's like 2 or 3 people in there, and then now even today, like there's 20 to 30 people at a time. Like it's pretty unique, and it's cool because it allows you all to kind of bounce ideas off, and then also like connect with other athletes from outside of your sport too.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, I got one more question.
Okay.
So you had Millersville 2 to 3 hours of study week on Sundays.
Yeah.
Was it just watching football, or are you guys actually getting studying done?
Our coach was pretty hard on us, so we couldn't pull up huddle. And they were actually smart. So how they did it, they were smart people too, but how they did it is, like in football, you practice on Sunday, then you have meetings, and then by the time you're finished, it's 4 o'clock. And then they would make study hall from, I think, like 5:36 to about 8. So you finish right before the games start at night, and then you finish, like you start right as the games are finishing. So there's really nothing to watch in that time. But yeah, I would personally do homework just because I knew it was prepping me for the week. But again, you can't control everybody. So you have guys in there watching film on their phone, but you have guys doing homework. So the ones that like use the space and use the time, they did well. But too, it's also good to kind of decompress and just be in the setting. Because honestly, just being in that setting forces you to think about academics, even if you don't think about it beyond.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's why I appreciate it too.
That's kind of like we had something similar. I mean, obviously it wasn't mandated for us, but, my roommates and I, the last 2 years, especially when we were living on campus, we had these things, we called them study Sundays. So we go in the mornings before the game starts, we go at like, 10 o'clock.
Smart,
Go and then hit up like Dunkin' or something, or Starbucks, probably easier,
coffee.
Starbucks in the library there,
Those are some of the best times I had, like, outside of study hall, but like, studying at night for finals till like 2 a.m. with my roommates, right? So like just having that bond and then just the collaborative environment is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we do it's kind of like a thing we do on our podcast here is a ChatGPT question. So the one that we had first, I guess I'll say what ChatGPT spit out, and then whatever you think, whether agree or disagree.
Okay.
So the question that we asked it was about the transfer portal. I know we've talked about that a little bit today, but the question was, how has the transfer portal changed, and how does it impact college sports and academics today? And then so what it gave us was 5 different points. It says it empowers athletes to seek better opportunities for playing time, development, or exposure, which I know you can resonate with probably. And then the second one was that coaches face increased challenges in keeping consistent rosters from year to year. Third one was some high school athletes may get overlooked because coaches would rather recruit experienced transfers. Next one is it impacts credit transfers, which can delay graduation and could force student athletes to take some extra classes. And then the last one was students who transfer may not have enough time to create a community on campus, which was kind of a point that we touched on earlier also. So if you want, give your input on how the transfer portal has changed and how it can affect student athletes.
And honestly too, like when you sent me the question, like that hit on like almost all of my points, right? I think again there's pros and cons with the portal. I think one of the biggest pros is it gives athletes an opportunity to expose themselves at a different level, right? So like you have your D2 student athletes who maybe they ball out their first institutions and they want to transfer up. Like I know 2 years ago when we went 9-2, we had 2 D3 student athletes that transferred up to our team and they did well. So it does give you better opportunity. And it overhauls the process for like transferring. Like I know when I did it, it was a lot of manpower. Right. And I think I had to 50 emails a week is a lot. Right? And then responding to them and then not getting responses. Whereas now you put your name in a portal and people reach out to you.
It's that easy.
And it feels like you're doing the whole high school recruiting thing again. So I think that's a plus. I think on the other side, it takes away some of the growth you can have by grinding it out, right? I think in situations where you're not going to be the number one guy right away, or the number one runner right away, or the best at your event right away. Before the portal is what it is, it forced people to kind of grind where they are and work for what they wanted to achieve. And I think that allows you to face adversity now versus the first time you're facing real adversity is in the workforce. Because right now, if you're not liking where you are, you can now transfer once a year if you really wanted to. So I think that's the con to that. And then the pro side for like coaches, like it allows them to add talent year to year that you maybe didn't have, or maybe there's a freshman not kind of living up to that standard just yet, so you can get him another year to kind of grind. But then it's hard to solidify that culture, right? It's hard to maintain and develop a solid team and a solid culture because you have the transfer portal that's open. But if you utilize it the right way, it can be super beneficial. But I see the pros, the cons for both sides of it too. So
yeah, there's definitely a lot of pros and cons. Especially touching on what you just said about like the culture, the team culture. Yeah. I run cross country, so I don't have as big of a team, right? Yeah. As football, they got 90. They got a lot of guys, right? And for me, like that's huge because our culture, I really love our culture and everything that we do. And then obviously for football, it's different. I mean, track, we have a good culture as well.
Yeah. I guess it'd be more like position groups. So probably like I'm a thrower. So like
throws,
we have
hurdles.
Probably 10. And so I guess it'd be similar to the position groups. Like the O linemen are probably closer than
right. Yeah. So it definitely hurts that, but. It brought up some really good points. Like those are like exactly what came to my mind at first. I think the one con that stands out to me is just the perseverance. Like I think there's something in staying and grinding and developing, but I also see the other side. So it just depends on what you're doing.
That'll help you in the professional world because obviously not every football player is going to go and play pro. So I think it can kind of create like bad habits, like where these guys are like, oh, this isn't going my way, I'm leaving, kind of thing. And it's like you said, it just gets rid of the grind, the adversity that you have to go through, and I think it plays a big part.
It's just unfortunate. It's like the easy way out.
And to every situation is different, right? The goal is for you to be happy and to get what you want out of college, but again, your sport is the platform. Academics is what can take you to that next level. So it's understanding what benefits you have for staying and leaving. What do you outweigh?
All right. I think that's just about everything we got. Before we end, though, I have one final question for you.
Okay. Hit me with it.
All right. Ship versus Millersville tomorrow. Who are you rooting for?
This is always an awkward game. Just because I'm on the sideline, and like when I've gotten better at it. But if you watch me, it's the funniest thing. But like I still watch Millersville like on Saturdays when we're away, and I'll have both Ship and Millersville up, and I'll have Delaware up sometimes too. But at this game, like Millersville will make a play. When I first started, Millersville will make a play, and I just started clapping, not realizing where I was. And then
you're on the wrong sideline,
exactly. And then I was just clapping after every play at one point. But now I've started to kind of figure, hey, I'm home right now with the Raiders, so I'm cheering for the Raiders. But I want Millersville to do as best as they can. Just not beating us right now.
Of course, that's a professional answer.
But it's such an internal battle, and that's with basketball too. Soccer, field hockey is one too. But it's cool just because I know Millersville is like one of the few rivalries here too, so it adds that extra component into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they just got rid of their head coach, so
I saw that.
It's like that week of preparing for
it's tough.
That style of play.
Yeah.
Out the window,
Hey,
so
UCLA just upset Penn
That's
State
true.
after firing their coach, right?
OC calling their plays for the first time.
We didn't have to talk about it,
I'm sorry, but
we have to. I'm having a hard enough.
It's still fresh.
Bad week for PA and Philly sports.
Jeez, man. You guys are lucky.
I'm living right now.
It's all right. I'm a Virginia Tech fan, so we've had some pretty bad luck this year.
That was one of my dream schools.
You did have that. Oh no, Virginia Tech. Never mind. I'm thinking of Virginia with the Storm Field.
Oh yeah,
the Field Storm. Yeah,
that was awesome. We haven't had anything that felt anywhere like that.
It's coming. Yeah. Again, the portal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what hurts.
Last question. You got anything coming up? Big events coming up in?
Let's see. First Raiders Lead event is November 9th, so that's coming up next. I think that's our most big one. Then we have some career events coming up in the spring too.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you need anything, reach out to me. But yeah, super happy to be here. Super happy to be a part of this. This was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great having you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time.